Hello traders, and welcome to our YouTube series where we are interviewing the best funded traders who have passed the CTI evaluation challenge. CTI Traders Imperium's mission is to help traders from anywhere in the world achieve their personal freedom. We provide funding for traders who do not have access to large amounts of capital. And that's why CTI offer a pioneering solution with its unbeatable funded programs. We have the best and unmatched funding rules in the industry. And if you have not yet checked out our new rules, you should. I'll put a link in the description below so you can see. They are absolutely phenomenal, absolute game changers for funded prop firms. And for the traders who are currently working hard to become profitable, we have also launched a high performance trader mastermind. And our objective is to coach and develop traders to become CTI golden traders. So more information on that, another video. And CTI is working towards having a regulated hedge fund where our golden traders will have the freedom of working from our London trading floor or remotely from anywhere in the world. So guys, before we begin the interview, and we'll interview one of our most recent successful traders who has passed the evaluation, can I just ask that you hit the like and subscribe button below to this channel so we can continue to inspire more traders around the world who want to get funded and achieve their personal freedom. And if you don't want to miss the next funded trader interview, hit the bell button as well below. Okay, right, so now I would like to welcome our newest portfolio manager who has recently passed the CTI evaluation. How you doing, Jason?
Hi, I'm very well, Rodrigo.
Good. Thank you for joining. It must be quite an exciting time for you to pass. And so do you mind just starting off with telling the listeners about your trading story and how you got to where you are?
Sure. Myself is nothing. My story is nothing special. I think it's very common to what most people experience themselves. I'm just a normal everyday guy working, and I had an interest in the stock markets, and then by chance I got an email from a guy that was starting up a investment teaching course. He used to be a banker, an investment banker. Asked if I was interested, so I spoke with him about what the course involved and what I get out of it, and it was very frank. He says he's just going to explain some principles and that about trading. I watched and was very interested in what I saw. So the guy was called Dan Armitage, and this was about 10-11 years ago. I did the course, learned some basic principles, and from there just started getting involved, getting my feet wet, playing around, and being burnt all the time, to be honest. And it's just been a journey from that. I can't say it's been an easy journey. It definitely hasn't been an easy journey. Not as easy as it's made out that it is. But it's definitely been one that matches my character and personality. I am that kind of person, so I've been very tenacious and held on. And it's taken, honestly, a lot of years to gain the experience, to develop myself and just start getting profitable. There's been a couple of different guys that have inputted into my journey that have been very influential and have made things click. And so I've had to fight all the same things what most people have to fight: running a household, paying bills, having a family, working full time, everything that throws a curveball into the mix of trying to trade in a way that you're not aware of until you actually start trading and start sifting through why doesn't it ever seem to work.
And there's so many curveballs in the journey.
Yes.
There's just never a day or a period where you don't get challenges on a day-to-day, on a weekly basis. So you've been doing this now for 10 to 11 years now. Well, it's a new year now, so 11 years. And you mentioned that you started off with learning about principles. And so that's quite interesting, actually, because most traders begin with taking a course on technical analysis. But yours was a little bit different. So are there any principles that stick out that you've learned when you first started and you still apply today?
I think one of the first things that I was told about was money management. You don't, when you start learning and you're getting into things, they have no weight. They're just subjects that you learn about, and you have no connection with them. But one of the things I do remember was money management, which further down the line then clicked. It was very simple strategies back then. What he was teaching me, he was teaching the crossover of moving averages and basically following the chart down. Looking back, it seemed much simpler 11 years ago. I'm guessing that I do think that the markets are a lot more volatile and erratic. Back then, it just seemed slower, but they were very simple things. Higher highs, higher lows for trends, following trends, and stuff like that. They all were the foundation. What a candle is, what's being shown in the candles. And I remember sitting looking at the screen, and it just looks like hieroglyphics to start with, and you think, what do you get out of this? But I remember sitting there thinking, I'll crack this thing one day, even if it takes me 10 years. And that was a flippant comment in my own mind. But little did I know it took 10 years.
Yeah, it's so incredible, so inspiring. And I can imagine you came across so many, like you said, curveballs and challenges along the way. So what would you say was a challenge that stuck out the most, and that you've managed to overcome?
I think, well, there's a couple really, but I think you come to a realization that there is so much involved in trading. It's not just learning a strategy, or not just using one size lot for trading or something like that. And you then start to get a little bit bogged down. You start to get discouraged. Think to yourself, will you ever learn it? It just seems impossible. You then start to have a bit of a conspiracy theory. There's someone on the other side of your screen that's literally waiting for you to do something, because when you do something, the markets do the absolute opposite. And and you think it cannot work on a daily basis. Everything you do, the opposite happens what you're hoping or expecting. But the fact is, it does. And I think that hits so many retail traders. But it's just how the markets are. And until you learn and get to understand the concepts and what's going on within the market, and that half of the problems that are happening are down to the choices and decisions that we make, then you just feel beat up all the time. Like I said, the sheer volume of stuff, and also realizing you've got to correct yourself. That's another revelation, because you think, why someone can teach me a principle and I just apply that principle, and the reality is it's down to the trader. A lot of the issues are down to us as individuals, the way we think and the way we act and we respond, how we are influenced, both psychologically and emotionally, even by the strangest things, by something a person might say, the word or something you might hear will influence and affect you and your ability to trade and cause you to do something that you shouldn't really be doing. And it's so in depth, but it's very much a part of learning to trade. Self-control, self-awareness, all these things, as well as just learning all the different elements involved in trading and money management, risk management, and everything else.
Yeah, that's such a great answer, because It's so true when you mention that it's down to how we respond, respond to the situation that we're in. I always like to think as myself as a trader, as a sniper who is ready to take the shot, but would only take the shot with the right conditions and when there is a clear shot in place. Now, if I feel too tired, or I am compromised emotionally, I might feel very frustrated about something. There is no way I should be near a loaded weapon. There's no way you should not be, if you've had 3 hours sleep, there's no way you should be near a loaded weapons. Just like there's no way, you shouldn't be trading or have your terminal open when you're compromised emotionally or psychologically or physically. And that's something that so many traders have actually, they struggle with because all of the cognitive biases and the impulses of what occurs. And you touched on something earlier about you have an idea, but then the market does the opposite. Yeah. And that's just a reality of the market, because institutions, they I guess they need to entice retail traders and the majority of the market participants to do the opposite, because they need to get their big and large orders filled. So there's so many principles, and it's so interesting to hear that you built these principles over time, over the last decade, and now you've managed to implement them into your current strategy and your process. So how would you describe your strategy, and how do you actually trade?
So really, I trade, and the kind of strategy I use regularly has been shaped around my lifestyle, around my personality, when I have to work, excuse me, and things like that. I have very limited time I can analyze the markets, and time that I can be involved with the markets with my job and things like that. So it's kind of, I trade intraday. I trade short-term time frames. So I'll get a directional bias from, say, daily, and then downwards. And I trade the price action. That's been one of the most influential things in my trading, that has really made me more successful and more profitable. Just understanding the pricing mechanisms of how the market works and the reason why it acts in certain ways. We look at the markets and we think it's very random, and to a degree it is random, and markets have characteristics and personalities and perform different on different days. Some of them can be traded, some of them are irrational. They're not really working because there's too much influences. And so I eliminate a lot of that by trading very quickly. So I might do the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute from the hourly downwards, and just follow the pricing structure, or the structure of the market as it oscillates and moves backwards and forwards. I might gain a few pips, anything from say 7 to 30 pips at a time. And then I can be back out, because I don't like leaving things on. I don't leave things on overnight generally. I don't leave things on long term through the day, because they never seem to work out. Because again, markets are open to influence from various catalysts, and they'll just go all over the place. I think that is a very important thing, understanding that you cannot predict and you cannot forecast anything really. You can have an idea or an assumption based upon your understanding of how markets have performed in the past, but there's no way, it's almost guaranteed. And another way I do things, I aim to enter into markets on a morning gradually, because various influences come into the markets at different times through the day, different time zones, like Europe or London. And at those points, there will be conflict or fluctuation where there can be rapid movements where one is fighting against the other or taking the other. I kind of tend to wait till they settle down a little bit and then start moving with regular movements within the markets. People want to get in at good prices. The market wants to trade at good prices, at good points, so it will drive itself to a good point. So then the vast majority of the market can get in there, or the big players can get in there at a good price and minimise their risk. And for us as traders, all we want to do is understand how the market is moving and get in with those guys. We are never right. All we do is we follow what they do. So as soon as it goes against us, we come out. We just sit on their coattails and ride their journeys, basically.
Absolutely. I think as a retail trader, our best friend is our stop loss. Because
exactly, yeah. I love stop losses.
Thank God for stop losses, because we don't control the outcome. We can only piggy bank, off the bigger, larger traders, and they tend to leave breadcrumbs for us, I guess. And you're it sounds like you have a very fascinating edge, and I have something, and I trade very similar to you. So price action is it's just amazing how much information you can get from price action, and how fractal it is. From you described, you look at the daily bias, and then you look then you zoom into the lower time frames in order to find your M1 to M5 entries. I have a very similar process to you, and it's once you understand your edge, and you just apply the same thing over and over and over again. That's how you can succeed. It's just that consistency, isn't it? So what I want to do now is I want to go through your trading statement. And ask you a few questions about it, because just let me know if you can see my screen.
Sure, yeah, I can see.
All right. So you took the 70K challenge, and so the evaluation was started at $17,500. And just by looking at this, your balance, it wasn't easy, man. You had a tough time. It was a bit of a roller coaster to the top, right? But in the end, you managed to achieve your 7% with a 2.89 maximal drawdown and a 2.99 relative drawdown. So you managed to keep within the 4% relative drawdown rule that we have at CTI. When you look at it like this and you reflect on it, what kind of thoughts come to mind?
It really highlights how I have been trading, because I hit the profit target and I exceeded it. I think I went to 19,200 in about 11 days. And that was purely on the back of really blindly trading. And one thing I hold my hands up to is, at the moment as a retail trader and working full time, a lot of the trades I take are either on a phone or an iPad. And so it's very inefficient being able to see what's going on in the market, seeing what the balances are, having a trade on and being able to watch it. Because then if I'm working, I have to walk away. So I'm fighting myself, and some of the trades, it took it up, and then something had disturbed me, and then I'd end up jumping in, and it was a bit of a roller coaster up.
Okay, so that I can see that. That's absolutely amazing that you actually were trading with your iPad and your phone.
Yes, I know, it's
employment. That's unbelievable. That's quite an achievement, actually.
It's not always fun, I must admit, but it's a case of just applying the principles again, but doing it the best I could in the time. I wanted to get it done as quick as I could, really. for the same reasons, while you're working full time and stuff like that, it's very difficult getting the opportunities to trade. Not really having the time to analyze the markets, and then once you've analyzed them, you're either forced into a kind of longer term trading strategy, which doesn't fully work with me at the moment, because again, analysing it and putting it in, and there's no guarantee it's going to work.
Yeah,
definitely no guarantee it's going to work.
Well, you've essentially built your strategy suited to your lifestyle and your personality, which is something that's it's something to highlight, and for other traders to really make note of that no matter how many courses you take or how many hundreds of thousands of good strategies there are, you need to customize it to your lifestyle, your personality, your character. You need to, and to do that, you need to know yourself as a trader. You need to know yourself, how you handle uncertainty, risk and uncertainty, and how you handle trading live funds in the live market. There's a massive difference between demo trading and live trading. That's why we don't give out any demo accounts to any funded trader. You start from a live account from the beginning.
I think what it points out, my trading, the style I was trading there was quite aggressive. So it points out, you can see on the dips, but it's when the trades worked, it rode up. When the trades didn't work, it dipped down. But then again, when the trades worked, it rode up. And so because the fluctuations just highlight how aggressive I were trading.
Well, the good thing is, out of the 270 positions that you had, I'm not sure how many unique trades that was, but you had a 63.84 win rate. That's quite high. That's above average.
I would have liked it to have been more generally.
Is that your normal sort of win rate in the past?
Well, again, it all depends on the time I have and the amount of risk I'm taking. It can be up to about 80%. But at the moment, my trading is very influenced. Like I say, it's not anything exclusive. But it's influenced by life. If I had the time to sit every day, just take small trades, really reduce my risk down, then it would be much smoother towards the end. That really small increase after I'd achieved the target was just small trades that I would take. And then when it got to the end, last couple of days, I thought I'll just put a couple of bigger trades on, see if I can push it back up to what it originally was. But in my mind all the time, I was watching that I was above what I needed to pass the challenge. So really, I was kind of, how I view myself is I optimize my trading all the time. So if I just want a nice smooth curve, I'll just have to take small positions, take less of them, I will ride more of the market out. But really it's a case of just knowing how I work. Is I visualize stuff. I know what kind of risk I can take. I will sit on a morning and prepare, or just have it in my mind what's the word, what availability I would say, what risk I can safely take, or if I want to try and push something. And then I will work out what kind of lot size I'm going to use, and I'll stick to that. So the lots, I will kind of use similar lot sizes all the time. So when it accelerates rather quickly, that's the kind of lots I'm using. When it decreases, it's because it's getting the same kind of action, the same kind of weight, and then it carries on all the way up.
Oh, that's really interesting. What I want to do is let's go in a little bit more detail of what you mean, because it's really interesting how your trading and the way I guess, how much you're willing to risk and how aggressive or conservative you go. It really depends on what your day looks like. It really depends on your schedule, how you feel. And that's as a discretional trader, I go through the same exact process. As a discretional trader, we're the one pulling the trigger. And so we really need to assess, right, am I able to trade today? How much time do I have? And can I manage this trade properly? Am I at peace with the outcome? Have I followed my process? And so you go through this checklist. It's like we're pilots about to go and fly. There's like a checklist that we need to check in with ourselves to see if we can if we can move forward with the trading.
That's so right. That's exactly right. You've got to be self-aware and aware of your environment and all your influences. And I think being a successful trader, these are the kind of things that when some broker says, "Oh, join up with us and you can trade at 500 to 1 and you'll make £10 million or whatever," it's so misleading. And understanding ourselves, and that isn't just a case of putting a trade on. You've got to really manage risk on many levels,
Absolutely,
and be aware of all those external.
You hit the nail. Unfortunately, there's the dark side to the industry, but what we like to do here at CTI is we are the most transparent and honest prop firm. And so when you actually join the community, you've seen that yourself, Jason, in the community, how transparent everyone is. There's no showing off. There's no one promoting any demo accounts or their courses, or showing Lamborghinis or flashy watches. There's none of that. Everyone is so real, and that's one thing that I'm really grateful that you're part of this community, because you contribute so much. Every day you're supporting other traders who are looking to get into the evaluation, looking to start the challenge. And so I'm really grateful for your contributions in the Discord community.
It's a pleasure.
Such a great community now, isn't it? It's grown to such
it's just bloomed massively.
Yeah, it has recently, and it's because of traders like yourself coming in, working really hard, taking it seriously, and actually bringing value to other traders, and not it's just that's what it's all about. That's what the community is all about, and that's what we're about here at CTI. It's just helping as many traders as possible achieve that personal freedom. We got a little bit sidetracked there, because I wanted to actually, before we head off, I wanted to go through your journal quickly, because your performance is absolutely phenomenal. Let's go through your journal. Where is that window? Here we are. So you've uploaded your statement to FX Blue, which is great, because we can actually see a little bit more detail as to some of your statistics. So in the end, you managed to achieve 7.4%. You took this the 70k challenge, so the target for that one is actually 7%. I took the same one when I passed the evaluation, but at that time it was a 52k. It wasn't a 70k, so it's actually gone up since you joined. You lucky. You can see what your drawdown here was. And one thing that really sticks out straight away is that you only traded 99% of your trades were cable. It was the GBP USD. Is that part of your strategy that you normally do, or is that something you chose specifically for the challenge?
I think generally I would it doesn't matter what I trade. I do at times if I'm at my own, when I've had my own personal account, I've traded that. I've traded indices and equities and that. But all I need is something that moves and that I can understand and see. So for me, if I stay with cable and I've been watching it and seeing how it's been performing, I can get a feel of, right, it's acted a certain way today, so tomorrow it may act a different way. It's just an experience. It's just the experience of understanding cable and taking advantage of that. So if I haven't got the time to keep re-looking through charts and different pairs and getting a feel of the personality and how that market is performing at that moment in time. Whereas if I stuck to cable, I know that it's been acting this way or it's been acting that way, and I can take a snapshot of the last few days and incorporate that into my discretional trading, basically.
Yeah. That is so fascinating, and it's just so true how all you really need is one pattern, one pair, and a pair like cable, which moves incredibly well on an intraday basis. So as an intraday trader and a discretional trader using price action, the opportunities are limitless with cable.
Oh yes.
It's if you catch a good move, even if it's intraday, the average sometimes is above 100 pips for a daily average.
Yeah.
And so if you have a stop loss of maybe 15, 20 pips, wow, you can reach 5R, 8R in a day sometimes.
Well, that's right. Or even if you just wanted to take one trade a day, you just need to look for the you've got what, 12 hours basically from morning while evening to look for one opportunity to take. If you wanted to make 7 or 10 pips in one day, and then work out your money management, and you could complete the challenge just by doing that one trade a day. And then I worked out initially, because with myself everything has to be visualized and understood. I have to have some kind of structure psychologically for myself, so I know and can assess. I love the fact that my opinion, markets are mechanical and structured, and that's what gives me a confidence to take certain trades that look, I won't say look crazy, but it's a structure that's given me an underlying confidence to take that trade, and knowing there's a higher chance of it moving. I forgot what we were talking about then, what I was referring to, but there's so many. Oh, that's it. I was saying you can say complete the challenge just by taking one trade a day, 10 pips, and you just break down what your objectives are, what you need, and do it like that. You can have it done in 3-4 months without any real having to take any really risky moves or anything.
That's right. Simplicity and the principles and applying them are so powerful with trading. We tend to think that the harder we work, the more hours we put in, the more trades that we do, we're bound to succeed. But it's actually quite the opposite as a trader. In fact, the more patient you are and the less you overtrade and the more you apply simple principles and concepts to your trading, that's how you're going to succeed. And then you have to be consistent with that process. And I can see here on this weekly return, you had more positive weeks than negative. This was quite you've only had one negative week out of from when you started. Do you remember this week, this where you had
yes. Excuse me, I do, yes, because again, I was at work and I was trading, and I think it was what got me. It done well to start with, and what got me is the markets. Again, I was trading quite aggressive, and the market went against me, and I kept putting trades on, and then I was working at the same time, and it was because I wasn't focusing, and the market basically had turned against me every time I went back. And the levels I thought were going to hold, they didn't hold. It was one of them cases where literally the market fell down and I wasn't in a position fully focusing and seeing what was going on, and that's what really hit me then.
But so I guess, would you say it was just a normal drawdown period for your particular strategy?
What I would say, and looking back, because that's when it went up to, I think, 19,200, and then I drew it back. I couldn't see what was going on clearly on the market, and that's the downside of phones and iPads. And I also didn't realise that I'd taken the account up to that level, and then otherwise I'd have probably stopped. It's purely a case of a bad environment. If I was at home trading and I'd seen that I'd lost a couple of trades and clearly known the amount that I'd lost, I'd have stopped and I'd have reversed. But I didn't, because it was my circumstances. It was me still taking trades when the market started to turn against me, and not me not seeing under that environment. If I'd have been sat more relaxed, watching a larger screen and seeing that happen, I'd have instantly just reversed and carried on. But I didn't. The fact is, I didn't clearly see what was going on.
Well, what's really good is that you actually understand what went wrong, and you can implement processes so that doesn't happen again. And it's just those small, consistent improvements, isn't it? Gradual improvements over time. One of my principles is not necessarily to be goal orientated, but it's more about growth oriented. So I'm always thinking about how can I make these 1% tweaks to constantly improve the process. So that's so. Thank you for sharing that in regards to this week. It was like the second week of December, so it was just before the Christmas period. But you had a phenomenal week on the end of November. Do you remember this week, 29th of November? 4.7% in a week. Wow. What did you do?
It's always the same. Everything I do is always exactly the same. It's so ingrained now. It's price action, and so when a setup is there and you just do it, you just keep hammering it. You work your way along with it. The idea though is not to have the drawdown week, because what you do is you hammer it, and then once you realise that something is changing in your metrics or your results, you want to pull back or start scaling down. It is just being discretional. But I think, everyone realising or needs to realise a retail trader has got to deal with these things. We can't get away with it until we get to a point where we can trade full time and hopefully be a lot more efficient. But I've got to say the markets were probably more in my favour. And that's probably why it went like that. I can't say how else really. It's the same. It's the same way that I trade. I look for points, price action where it's going to change, or it's going to move from or continue in a direction or in a range.
Well, you've done incredibly well, regardless of the setbacks, the challenges, because the way you describe it wasn't easy at all, and so you've done incredibly well. So what would you thinking back, and especially for those traders who were once in your shoes, they were starting their evaluation, what advice would you give these evaluation traders?
I would say trade very, very low risk. You've got a year, 6 or 7% isn't much at all. If you've got a strategy or a system that works, or works, or you're confident, and that's what part of being a trainer is. You're training your psychology to be able to automatically act and respond in situations. You can't really look at it as money. You just got to look as you're working a system that has got to produce a positive. How I trade is more a system of average loss, average gains. And my average gains have got to outweigh my average losses, and so that's how you've got to be able to trade. And so either trade with a constant lot size, or trade with a small risk amount, which will enable you to accommodate volatility within the market and fluctuations. Because no matter what you think, and this is 100% guaranteed, you can approach the markets one day thinking you're the world's best trader, and it will give you a kick in, because it is run by such highly proficient, intelligent computers, and they are manipulating you and controlling you. And this is a side of trading that we don't realize. We think we're in control of our lives, and until you suddenly start realizing and having an awareness of yourself and how you're responding, and how you suddenly initially find it difficult to change the way you're acting, that's because what's on the inside of you is the end result of the influences around you that have been pre-programmed in, and suddenly you're having to make yourself do things differently. And the market is actually making you do things that you don't realize that you either do or don't want to do, until you've been beaten up so many times and you realize that you're losing. You're having to analyze everything that's going on and think, well, why is it happening? And then highlight and work out the issues. So I'd say, to give you the best chance, because you will be getting a good kicking, keep your risk low, and take it slowly. Plan everything out. Know what you're wanting to accomplish and how you're going to accomplish it. The fact is, if you can't trade and you can't trade profitably, you're not going to succeed. And that isn't a negative. It means hang around the community. It means ask questions. Just keep demo trading until you've created a system or a strategy that works for you. I have this opinion: you can't teach someone to trade, but you can equip someone with the elements and the information they need to be able to establish themselves as a trader, because it's down to them to it's as unique being a trader, and the way you trade is your fingerprint. And I remember there's another guy that's very influential. He won the Olympic bobsleighing title for Canada, and then became an institutional trader, and it struck a chord when he says he can't understand how people think you teach a strategy and someone can pick it up, because the biggest part of a trading system that works is the individual. It's not the strategy. You need to know what you're looking at. You need to know how to respond in a certain situation. You need to know how to evaluate and change things, and you have to have the ability to, when everything's going pear-shaped, just cut it out. You can't allow these things to go on, and there's a lot that's involved in you being able to do that as an individual. So to make it easier, keep it very simple for yourself. It will only make it easier.
Absolutely. So many words of wisdom there. I can't wait to rewind everything you just said and just make notes. And I suggest everyone do that, because you threw in so many gems out there. So thanks for that. That was absolutely amazing. I'm just conscious of the time.
Sure.
So yeah, I want to finish off by thanking you and congratulating you. Well done.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Evaluation. So now you are a funded trader.
Yeah.
So you've been given your $70,000 account. You've received the logins and everything. You've managed to log in all right?
Yeah, the same day. I got the money back from the challenge account the same evening. And yeah, I've received all the logins and going on okay with that.
Amazing. Well, I wish you well, Jason.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to continue to chat with you in our Discord community. We talk practically every day anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of the traders in the community, they're looking forward for this interview. They were asking me. A lot of them were quite excited about it. So yeah, when we post it, they're gonna absolutely love it. So good luck on the next portfolio manager milestones. So now your objective is to pass on, hit the next level. We've got new rules now, so your target's now 12.5%.
Yeah.
And once you pass that, it will double to 140,000. So best of luck with that. Yeah, just keep me updated, and you know that I'm here to support you on every step of the way. And so yeah, there you have it, guys. That's Jason, and yeah, we've got so many funded traders that have passed recently, and so we're going to be posting and doing a lot more of these interviews for you guys. So if you want to check these videos out, you should find them more on our YouTube channel. And if you feel that you're you're not quite ready to be a funded trader because you're not yet profitable, then that's absolutely fine, because we've actually launched a high performance trader mastermind where we are helping traders and coaching them to be consistently profitable. And we focus a lot on trading psychology, risk management, and how to actually build a strategy. So be sure to check out the links below where you can start a new funded challenge and also join the mastermind. You can also check out Jason's interview in written format. He kindly done one for us in our blog, and you'll be able to find other trader interviews on our blog too. So thanks again, Jason, for your time. Really grateful, and thank you everyone for watching.
It's a pleasure.
Good. And if you've got any suggestions for any future videos, guys, just hit the just let me know in the comments, and any questions that you want me to ask any future funded traders. Otherwise, this has been an incredible interview. Thank you so much, Jason. I've had so much fun. So see you guys in the next video. Take care.